Day 201. Anne seemed pleased with the watercolor. Hopefully Emily will be pleased with it as well. I found no satisfaction in creating it, though. It seemed to be a caricature of itself, completely inadequate. I think it's all because of my emotions, because of how awkward painting and drawing make me feel these days. Quite pathetic. A big artist having issues with a small watercolor. Is it just me? Or is that how the whole world's organized? Sometimes I think that life's nothing but an absurdity, and the only way to deal with it is laugh at it. I can't do it anymore. When I look back, I wonder why I made the decisions I did. We're spinning, sometimes driven by some inner force, and we never know what the end of the line is going to be. Talking about spinning, today Anne brought me the clock I once got from a friend of mine, David. She said she'd found it while cleaning up. So many memories. They pop into my head every time I glance at the clock's face. That David, he was one of the really ambitious ones. Any obstacle in his way seemed easy to tackle. It was all a matter of attitude. I guess this gift from him was supposed to motivate me. The clock of his life stopped a long time ago, 5 years or so. It'd be good to check whether the old mechanism's still working.
Tom, when I found the clock in the attic, you know, the one from David, it immediately reminded me of that situation, his illness, his funeral, and then I thought of you. It finally got to me how afraid I am. Every single time I press the handle to walk into your room, my hand trembles. The image I might see upon opening the door scares me, but I turn the key and walk in anyway. As I do it, for a brief moment, my imagination feeds me the worst visions possible in order to spare me the shock, so that the worst possible reality that can await me inside already feels somehow familiar to me. This whole situation has completely annihilated my sense of security. You are there alone. I have no idea what you're thinking about, but it can't be anything good. I'm alone as well. I experience feelings I can't even control. I feel like my heart is going to implode any minute now. Tom, please allow yourself to be helped. Please don't condemn us to this non-existence. By shutting yourself off, you've also shut me off. You've turned me into your sentry. I know it's hard for you. I really believe that you feel the way you say you do. I'm dying to do more for you, to get inside your head, kill the monster that occupies it, and save you. But I'm completely helpless. Please promise me that I'm not in for any surprises, that whenever I decide to walk into your room, all that awaits me are dirty clothes, dishes, and some general untidiness, like newspapers and rubbish lying on the floor, an unmade bed, but that I will hear you in the bathroom, that I will see you faking your sleep. Please promise me that I will never come across anything else in there. Anne.
Day 211. Winding that clock wasn't the best idea after all. This constant ticking is making it impossible for me to fall asleep. Maybe it's not just the clock. I keep having problems with sleep these days. On the other hand, though, at least I always know the time. There's a new problem on the horizon today. Anne is expecting a visit from her school friend, Monica. Obviously, I asked Anne to tell her friend I'm not at home. Monica is a very agreeable person, but I just don't feel like seeing anyone. Surprise, surprise, we're sticking to the official explanation that I'm experiencing some heart problems, so I'm either undergoing some tests or at the clinic. As far as I know, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be on some medical retreat. It's all possible thanks to my old friend, a cardiologist. It was enough to tell him that I needed some rest. No questions asked. Thanks to his help, I can take some time off from the university. Anyway, I wonder where Monica is supposed to sleep. I brought the bed from the guest room here to the atelier. It was actually just the beginning. This room used to look so different. Now it's more like a studio, a place where everything needed for normal existence has been crammed into one small room. I brought the chest of drawers from our bedroom, bookcases from the living room, the desk and the lamp from the study. Luckily, I didn't have to build a bathroom, since there was one from the beginning. Step by step, I prepared a hideaway for myself, and I've been hibernating inside it ever since. But I have to admit, I've been exaggerating with it lately, though. If I still can't fall asleep, I know what I'm going to do. I found some old tapes, and I'm going to listen to them. I'll have to be careful not to attract the girl's attention. I know very well how the sound travels around this house. I make use of it myself sometimes when I'm trying to work out whether Anne's home. It looks like it's gonna be just me and the tapes tonight. Day 222. My relationship with Anne was always really important to me, but now it's worse than ever between us. It's probably my fault, but I can't help it that sometimes when she's chewing me out, all I want is to shake her and yell, "What the fuck is wrong with you? How fucked up do you have to be to stay with me in all this shit?" But no, I'll never do that. Lately, I came across the mixtape Anne gave me. When I listened to it, I had the faintest of hopes that things between us could still turn into what they used to be. Now I don't really know what's going to happen. Recently, I got an opportunity to see how it'd be without her around. A couple of days ago, Anne left for her niece's birthday party. She was away for 3 days. The second night after she left, I had some kind of attack. I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe it was because of the broken alarm. I was convinced somebody was walking around the house. It wasn't easy for me. After all the time I've spent locked away in this room, I know exactly what kind of noises I can expect at what hours. I was petrified. but I couldn't put my finger on what was making me so afraid. Every movement, even the slightest, triggered intense reactions. I was sure I was going to die, then and there. This whole thing was so incredibly illogical. But then again, what difference does logic make if what you feel is true for you and you have to find a way to live with it? And when you try to tell someone about it, nobody understands a single word. I wanted to leave, call Anne, and ask her to come back, but the fear paralyzed me. And now the phone is right there on the dresser. But not because of that experience. I didn't tell Anne anything. It's just that somebody called and wanted to talk to me. I was asleep when it happened, and Anne didn't want to wake me up. I don't feel like calling them back, but do I really have a choice?
Dear Tom, in light of our discussion about the most convenient way for me to contact you, I'm writing this letter. Gladly, in fact, seeing as writing is more permanent than a fleeting word. I do hope that you follow the advice I gave you. From what Anne has told me, I understand that you're not attempting to go out, at least not when she's at home. She is very concerned about the state you're in, but rest assured that we've offered her support, as you asked. I am writing now to tell you that I will be available for our meeting at the end of next week. Please, talk to Anne to set a time. I would also like to thank you for all the phone conversations we have had. It is extremely important that I am aware of any new symptoms, no matter how distressing they may be. That also goes for any issues you have with the prescriptions I've given you, although you've not said anything in particular about them so far. Has your trouble sleeping become any worse? I'd like to discuss the next stages of your recovery process at our meeting. What I mean is the steps we need to take for you to start leaving your studio. I would also like to visit you more often. To be frank with you, I think you should spend some time at the hospital. You need counseling as well as pharmacological treatment. The experiment we decided to attempt can't last forever. I see the changes in your mood, and that's the reason I'm sharing my thoughts regarding the next steps you should take. I also think that in the future, you would benefit from attending group therapy meetings. Please remember that you're not alone with your problems. This illness can happen to anyone. Where you are now, you are looking at the world through a keyhole, and the small fragment you see looks uninviting. Together, we are going to do our best so that you can see the wider world again. Yours sincerely, Dr. Jacob Braun.
Day 234. I can't forgive myself I haven't called Frank back. Maybe it was something important. Even if it wasn't, at least I would have a bit of entertainment. Even though I can't complain about boredom recently. Just a couple of days ago, I was lying in my bed, yet again studying the cracks on the ceiling, when I heard the most peculiar noise coming from the yard, followed by the doorbell. I couldn't immediately recognize who had paid us a visit. Auditory recognition of what's happening inside of my own house has become the basis for my hermetic lifestyle these days. That's why I was agitated to hear so many different voices. There were a number of people talking to Anne downstairs. I was so intrigued that I even peered through the keyhole. Later, Anne told me that the voices belonged to my students. They wanted to pay their old professor a visit, wish him good health, and ask whether he was coming back to work anytime soon. It was a rather distressing experience. Truth be told, I'm not sure what to think of it. I don't know what to think of my latest discovery either. I wanted to retrieve the magazine that fell behind the cabinet. When I reached for it, I found my real treasure instead. That's what I call my Russian doll, since I have no clue what's inside of it. Should I open her? Or maybe just let it go? If I leave it unopened, it will forever be hiding something amazing and mysterious, leading me to wonder about the nature of those mysteries. Knowing my own nature, though, I won't withstand it, and this old, forgotten treasure won't stay closed for long.